Hey all, hope you all are doing good. So today we are going to do the day 6 task 11. Okay, and I hope you are following the playlist. If you're coming directly to this, I would recommend you to follow the playlist, like the series wise concept. But again, this is an independent concept, so otherwise it is good. But my recommendation would be to follow the playlist. So let's get started. Now, today's topic is be careful with what you wish on a Christmas night. Okay, so there is something malicious smell is coming out of the topic itself. This year, Santa wanted to go fully digital. Uh, Invented a make-a-wish system. It's an extremely simple web app that allows people to anonymously share their wishes with others. Unfortunately, right after the hacker attack, the security team has discovered that someone has compromised Make-A-Wish, okay, which is our portal. Now most of the wishes have disappeared, and website is now redirecting to a malicious website. So this has happened. Now why it has happened? An attacker might have pretended to submit a wish and put a malicious request. So this statement is what the attacker has done so far. The security team has pulled up a backup server for you. Your goal is to find a way the attacker could have exploited the application. So basically again we have to replicate the attacker. Now we are going to understand what the attack and all is. But when you are doing this, you are using TryHackMe, especially the Christmas streak here, right? Because we are a non-subscriber, and maybe because of the others traffic, it is taking time to like actually deploy the machine, and even after we are getting the IP address, it is not active. We have to wait for some time. So for that sake, we'll deploy it early and then we'll continue with our explanation. We'll give some time for it to like completely respond. Okay, and before that, if I can show that I'm not connected as of now, let me refresh. Okay, I'm not connected, so let me go here. This is my this is our folder which we are following for the complete streak, and then here we are, sudo open vpn dpoint password, and here we go, sequence completed. Okay, we are good. Open our new terminal. We don't need this, and I'll make sure that we have font visible to you. Okay, and let me minimize everything, refresh the page. We should now be connected. Okay, yeah, now it's green and even we have the IP address, but let's wait for it to deploy completely. Now what happened actually, what attacker did? So it's basically the cross-site scripting. What is cross-site scripting? It's a web vulnerability that allows attacker to compromise the interaction that the user have with, okay, leave the whole theoretical part. So basically it's like uh, the rendering part, whatever is rendered on the website, it is basically the HTML CSS. Okay, now if there is some functionality to be happen or some effects to be happen, then JavaScript comes into picture. Now what happens is JavaScript in not only the effects, styling, animations and all, but we also write some logic in JavaScript, correct? Which you all must have agree. Even like at some point of time you must have come across JavaScript, and we write some logic apart from normal animations and all, like what should happen if this is a scenario and all such logics. So what happens basically, the attacker puts some malicious content, or I can say malicious JavaScript, and it he encaptures that around the HTML, CSS and all the stuff, and finally puts it. So how the browser is reading it as though it is an HTML content or CSS, that kind of content, and it will try to render it. Now as soon as the browser is trying to render what is given as the input or in any other manner by the attacker, it will consider as though it is an HTML or CSS, and it will try to render it. When the browser is trying to render it, the internal code, the JavaScript code, gets executed. Now based on the level of maliciousness or whatever the code is written, that is executing, which is satisfying the attacker's needs. So that is the overall cross-site scripting, I can say. Now in this we have various types and all those things, but we are going to see that in this lab practical one concept. But before that, I want to tell you that if you want to literally deep dive into cross-site scripting, okay, so let me just show you this playlist. Okay, let it load. I don't know why my virtual machine is kind of okay. So in my channel, if I go to dpoint, if I go to playlist, and if you can see port trigger by Anoop, the same thing that I showed you yesterday about this SQL injection. But if you see here, after SQL we are also working with, okay, after blind if you can see, reflected cross-site scripting, exploited cross-site scripting to capture password, reflected DOM based XXS. So for each of them you can see nearly we have 7 labs. Okay, so it's up to you, but if you want to really deep dive into that, just go there and please do visit. So it's like nearly 7 labs only on cross-site scripting we have there. So just follow there, and then yeah, we can again discuss on a surface level on this. Okay, now types of cross-site scripting. Okay, all this is fine. So basically I can say, okay, stored cross-site scripting is one thing, and one is reflected, and there will be one more. So basically if we are based on our malicious code, is something is getting stored somewhere, like in cookies or in database or somewhere else. Okay, now what will happen if suppose it is stored in the database. Now I am the attacker, but if you, who is a legitimate user, if you open the browser and the logic of the application tries to fetch something from the database and want to show it on your screen, it is basically reflecting on your screen. So it's reflecting, that's why not it is a stored cross-site scripting, because basically the content that is fetched and rendered on your browser is because of some content that is stored in either cookie or sessions, those kind of stuffs, or either in your database. That is what stored. But reflected means as soon as we type something and it is reflected somewhere else. For example, we are searching for a location and we are also getting the location name somewhere else on the web page, so it's like reflected. So in that manner, if something has happening, then it is called reflected cross-site scripting. Just because we are typing and it is visible somewhere else, that is not cross-site scripting. If we are able to manipulate it, then it is called reflected cross-site scripting. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so for example, let's take this. Okay, so image source is something which is not a valid source. So while try to rendering this source, browser will get an error, and for that we have written on mouse over. Like, okay, for this like if we have something called alt, we have something called on error kind of stuff. So if it is not able to find source, the other alternate tags will get executed. So in that we can write these kind of things, or else we are writing some, we are making use of some or the other tags such that the script is getting executed. So there here, if suppose some proper link is given or not given, the image will be loaded. If it is a proper image will be loaded, if it not, some thumbnail will be loaded, and on hovering on like mouse over on that, will this thing will be executed. Now if the website is vulnerable to reflect, no, if it is vulnerable to the stored cross-site scripting, in that case this will execute. But in other case, basically the filtering, the what when I can say, the filtering will happen, and it will take care, or it will mitigate such that it will execute the malicious script, and it will make sure the malicious script, the intention of that script is not satisfied. Okay, I hope the cross-site scripting concept is clear. If not, then you can wait for some time, we will do the labs, definitely it is going to be clear. But to do the deep dive, go to the playlist that I have shown just a minute back. Okay, so it's like if you can see here, if I'm typing some comment, it is reflecting, so that's what reflecting. But if I'm able to manipulate it, then it is reflected cross-site scripting. Okay, now let's not waste much of the time here. Okay, how to detect. Okay, so basically if what we have seen is image. Okay, this thing we have seen, right? So this was one way to identify whether it is vulnerable or not. Like that we have thousands of other things. Okay, and we have like for tomorrow, suppose this tag is not is filtered, so we will write it in some other form, encoded, decoded, some URL decoded form, or some other form. So like that we have thousands of other alternatives or payloads in which we need to try, because it might be vulnerable to one, it might not be vulnerable to other. So because of such reasons, we need to try with thousands of other payloads. So that is like not possible. That's why we have a tool, a script for us, like for doing all these things. So that tool is nothing but, okay, but sometimes it might be challenging to find them manually. So Zap is an open source scanner. It automatically detects the web vulnerabilities. So application open OWASP app. Okay, fine. So let's open this, and if I scroll to top, it's running on 5000. So let me just copy this and okay, I hope this part is clear. So just let me close this. It's running on 5000 port. Okay, there's some website is going on, right? So what all things that we need to do is, let's read the task first. I need to open OWASP app, and then simply I need to give the URL and trigger the automate scan, and then it will give me the list of vulnerabilities. Okay, so again, any tool which is giving you any kind of vulnerabilities, it is just that it is possible, or it is like vulnerable to an attack based on how the application is configured. So it's just helping us, but it is not assuring us anything. If we are like, okay, this is possible, then we have to try and then confirm it. Okay, because every day the new updates, the new filters, the new level of security, something or the other is coming. So the tool is getting updated or not, that we cannot say for sure. Okay, so deploy, yes, we have done. What vulnerability type was used to exploit the application? So here I don't see, I have not exploited anything as of now. What vulnerability was used to exploit the application? Maybe after doing OWASP and all, we will try to know. What query string can be used, can be abused to craft a okay, so query string means query parameter. So let's to query can be abused to craft a reflector. So let's search something, abcd wish. I don't see anything else, so let me write something here, wish. No, I don't see any query parameter. Is there any other button? Search query, yes, wish. I don't see anything, so let me just try to catch this with burp suit. Let us do that. Burp suit, and let me just open this dpoint.yt. Do we have any other button? Just let me try to minimize. No, I see only this button. Okay, so our burp suit is not loading yet. Burp has not, okay, I'll wait for it to start first. So here it comes, close, next, start burp. So as of now, like, just to update you that my proxy configuration is on 8084, so we'll do the same for the burp suit. So let's wait for it to start, and we go to proxy, options, this we want to edit 8084, and then specific address I need to give my local host. Okay, and we are good. Yes, it is running. Intercept is also there. Now let's search for something, ASDS, and this also at wish. So here what I see, the comment I see is the one that I typed here, but the one that I'm typing here, that I don't see anywhere. So okay, we have one thing called comment, and do we have any other thing? No, let's just forward this. Now let's try to type something here, today's day. Okay, now do we have any such thing? Okay, let me just enter this. Okay, yeah, today day. Now here we can see today day is coming, and the q here is there. Okay, so q is the query parameter for the search, not for the wish. Okay, so let's come here, and we don't need the proxy anymore, so just turn off this. So this point is very crucial. If we don't do that, again we'll waste so much of our time. So q and submit. Let's see the hint as well. If you're unsure, make a wish website search for something and see what query string added in your browser. So yeah, actually we should get these things in the browser, but I don't know why, or maybe it is very fast or just reflecting and getting back. That's why I was not able to see. But overall, we have burp suit and all coming to the rescue. Okay, so next we have okay, so what vulnerable type? So here basically they are asking us that it is like cross-site scripting is happening, because like we are entering something here and it is reflecting, and you can see whatever I'm typing here, it is reflecting here. So I can say it is either what kind of this thing is it like okay, so if I search something else here now, wish. So what I see is like I typed only now, but it also storing the previous wishes as well. So I can say that it is storing somewhere. I am not sure if it is database, cookies or session, that we can dig deep if required, but as of now what we are seeing that it is fetching all the searches that we have done so far, so it is definitely storing it somewhere. And we are going to do the cross-site scripting on it definitely, but because it is vulnerable, let's try to say that it is a stored cross-site scripting. Okay, submit. No. Okay, let me just cross this. Cross STOREDES, it is there. Cross-site 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 scripting, yeah. Okay, launch the OS Zap application. Yeah, let's do that. We don't need this anymore. Yes, I want to exit now. Okay, let me search here. Recently used Zap. Let me minimize all the other. Is it opening or not? Okay, it is taking some time. OWASP Zap. So what we are using OWASP Zap? Okay, so there's one more thing. Why we are going for OWASP Zap is so that it can basically try to hit on various stuff and give us some idea on the kind of vulnerabilities that the website is vulnerable to. But the same thing can be done with Bubshoot also. Okay, now the difference of these two we need to do a research, but yeah, the difference we need to search, like for sure one difference is there is too many different features of OS and there is too many differences for Bubshoot. That there is no doubt in that. But coming to the vulnerabilities, we get that list in the burp and in the OS as well. But as per the lab, they want us to explore this tool. That's why they are asking us to use this. So let's do the automated scan. And what is this? What is our IP address? Copy this and paste, and make sure you enter the port number which is given to us already. So attack. So now what, let's let it start. Meanwhile, let's focus on here. Launch the, yes, run a Zap automated scan on that. How many cross-site alerts are in the scan? So let's see this. We have something called history. Okay, we are doing on this, and we maybe we can filter it out. Alerts, yeah, here we can see, and output spider active scan. Okay, something is still going on. So okay, based on something we are getting the percentage here, number of request. Okay, there will be some list of, okay, sitemap and all static. Okay, this seems to be like helping us with the directory explorer as well, so that is good. Yeah, fine. So let's go back to our alerts. I see two cross-site scripting and the remaining 3 6 5 4, so overall 6 vulnerabilities and 2 cross-site scripting. Okay, so here it is asking about XSS, so let's give 2. Okay, and explore the cross-site scripting alerts that Zap has identified. Are you able to make an alert appear? Make a wish website. Okay, so basically if we want we can read all these things, but what it is giving us is that, okay, this persistent, that is the stored one, okay, is risk is high, confident is medium, and it tried with this script and it got executed actually. So let me just so when it is telling me this, I can see on the website here that somewhere it must have induced that script. Okay, you can see it is trying with all this kind of stuff, so it must have done somewhere with this thing. Okay, let's see that. Okay, here we go. So it is possible that when they are executing this, it actually got vulnerable. So let me come back to my website, and before that let's just stop this, we don't need it anymore. So where is this quick start? Yeah, it is already stopped, so we are good. Now let's refresh this page once, because it has like done too many um, attacks already. Oh, okay, we can see this because our tool is already done. So make sure before using it that we have the proper permissions and all. So let's just scroll back to the bottom. So all this are stored. Okay, so okay, I see injection is also happening. So maybe we can explore a bit more based on what kind of payloads it is generating and how it is coming. Let's try to execute this and wish. So we can see it is vulnerable. Okay, so yeah, we can read more documentation in the report provided by all OS, or we can like I would definitely suggest not, because the Portugal videos were made by me, because I like those labs very much, because as a when we are doing initially, even the small terms are like very confusion. So that those kind of labs are really knowledgeable. So I thank Portugal for that, and definitely suggest you to have a good hands on that. So that's all for day 6, and my only request is, if you like the explanation, only then subscribe, click on notification bell, and share with as many people as possible. And if you have any good techniques or any other suggestions, please do mention in the comment section. And that's it. Make the best use of the lockdown, practice as much as possible. Thank you.